Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Turfway Park for a wonderful Saturday evening of racing here from Florence, y'all. 8 races on the card, post time in 34 minutes. Mutual windows are open, and we'll get right into the action here. We do have a single 6 carryover in the third race of $11,334. Also, the high 5 offered in the 8th and final has a carryover just shy of $800. Race 1 kicks off the 50-cent pick 5. These have been paying very well the entire meeting. You can make that for as little as a 50-cent base bet. In race number 1, it's a non-2 claimer to go 1 mile. And I'm going to use number 6, Rock On Kitten, as my top pick. I think it's really down to 2 horses in here, but Rock On Kitten was a easy winner for the $15,000 level here back on January 16th, where he rallied from off the pace. The son of Kitten's Joy won by 3 3/4 lengths, gets Alvin Jimenez back up top for the Red Hot Ben Colbert stable, and takes a drop in class off that 15 win. I like that angle. I like when trainers enter aggressively in 2-1. A Rock On Kitten is my top pick. Now for second, I'm going to go Wesley Ward's number 1, Promontory. Now this one is ridden by Gerardo Corrales, who's fresh off a 3-win victory on the card here last night. Again, Corrales racked up a hat trick. This one comes in from Oklahoma and should show speed from the inside here on the class drop for Corey and CJ Johnson. Now for third, number 3, Pioneer Dancer from the Santangelo stable. This one was a winner for $7,500 last start, was claimed out of the race. And this horse overcame a little bit of a compromise beginning, stumbled at the start and rallied from last to get up to win. Takes a step up in class, but I think he is the best of the rest. Race number 1, 6, 1, and 3 for me. Now the second race every night here starts the 14% takeout early pick 4. We'll have a ticket on that for you here later on in the evening. And we're going to use 4 horses in here, but ultimately my top pick in here, number 7, Seductive. She's steadily taken a drop in class, and I'm not real comfortable just singling her. Her numbers stack up better than anybody's in here, but I just don't know what to make of her. She shows up, but she doesn't do enough to win. But on the class drop, I think she's found her friends here. She's in the lowest level of her career, I think, with a clean trip. Now, last start, she was stuck down along the inner rail throughout. Now, this time she's drawn to the 7-hole, gets Julie Burke, and I think if she just lets the speed go and stays to the outside in the clear, I think that's where she does her best running for owner Judy Bach. Now, for second, number 6, Bay of Fables. This one won here last start, although it was via DQ. What I liked about that race, the horse that beat her that was disqualified came back earlier this week here on Thursday, I believe, and won a $7,500 non-2. So that was a pretty good race that Bay of Fables is coming out of, and at 3-1, I'm using her as my second choice. Number 1, Lady Voodoo. She's drawing the rail, but we did have a couple of horses last night win down along the inner rail at this 6-furlong sprint distance. And Lady Voodoo is one I think will benefit from a trip over the track. Also, she had an excuse last start where she stumbled horribly at the start, basically lost all chance, but she did recover real quick and rushed up there and then kind of ran even after that. But with a trip over the track and a clean break, I think she's one you need to use at 6-1 in the morning line. She can get it done here in race 2. Probably the only other one besides those 3 I'll use will be the 8, Princess Daniela, in that early pick 4. Now race 3 starts the single 6 jackpot wager. Like I said, there's a carryover in that. There's free money in the pool. You want to get involved. There's $11,334 already in this pick 6 pool. And it's a 20-cent jackpot wager, but if you're right, you're going to get rewarded very nicely here as race 3 kicks it off. And I think you can go short in this single 6. There's a couple of races you can single, and then I think this opening leg, you can reduce it just a couple of horses. My top pick in here is number 8, 2 Ducks lifting off from the Red Hot Cipriano Contreras barn. He's hitting at just about 42%, I believe, in the win column. One thing I do like, this filly is another one. She came in from the East Coast. She has a trip over the track. Last start, she was 3rd beaten 6 lengths. Pretty decent field in that 2 and 6 months where Fun Sucker beat her that day. Now, when Cipriano gets horses in his barn and they're making the second start in his stable, they win at a whopping 44%. Now, that is from a large sample size, too. That's from almost 20 starters, so that's a very good angle. Now, in the money, they hit at 72%, so a lot of upside on 2 Ducks lifting off, my top pick in the third race. The other one I'll use in here will be number 2, Don't Hold Queens. This one was in traffic trouble for about half the race last start, and with a clean trip, and it draws to the inside. I like the inside, though, going the route distance, gets to the hot rider, and John Rednauer certainly knows his way around the racehorse. At 4-1 is my second choice. For third, number 1, Bang. Bang comes from the barn of Ricky Short. Last start, I don't know what to make of that race. She's much better than that. I'm just going to draw a line through that. And if you go back to the race on December 11th, she was a decisive winner. She sat off the pace in fourth, rallied, and just drew away in the end. She won by almost 8 lengths. And Ricky Short, and now this is another stat I looked up, when he makes starts on all-weather surface, he hits at a huge percentage. From 65 starts, when he takes horses and runs them on the all-weather, he wins at 22%, 66% in the money. So number 1, Bang at 6-1 is a must-use in the trifecta for me. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth race is a maiden filly and mare 6.5 claimer to go, for a claiming price of $7,500. Maiden girls to go 6.5. And in this race, I think number 8, My Maiko, is the horse to beat. She's a daughter of Magician, racing for the Matt Martinez stable. Gets red hot riding Gerardo Corrales up top. She gets my top nod here at 3.5-1 on the class drop. She made her most recent start here at Turfway for the maiden 15 level. She was the beaten favorite in behind Hoosier Gold Case, Starvana, and Beautylicious. But you know, I think she will be a pace presence. The class drop, I think today's her day to get her maiden broken. Now, to the outside, number 12, Ice Blink. I have to use it, and it's another one by Magician. So this one debuts for Wesley Ward, drawn to the outside with Albin Jimenez. Been working just okay. No works that jump off the page, but for $7,500 debuting, I wouldn't expect that. But Wesley Ward is a must-use for me. Now, third, number 4, Dixie Mole. She's a daughter of Blaine, very well bred. She's out of a Dixie Union mare. And 2 back, she was third, beating 6 lengths in a pretty good field, and then came back last start, was 9th, beating 14 lengths. Showed speed and faded at that route distance. She's going to turn back. I like that angle here at Turfway a lot to the 6.5 furlong distance, and she gets a break in weight with the apprentice, who's riding very well at the meeting, Joe Ramos. Well, that's the first 4 races on the card. We're going to take a little break here as we honor America, and then we'll come back with the back half of the card and the changes. But ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please rise. Kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Turfway Park. 25 minutes for race number 1, the first of 8 here on this Saturday card. And if you'll take out your racing programs, I will give you tonight's late program changes. In the first race, start of the pick 5, there are no changes. In fact, race 2, start of the pick 4 is clear as well. No changes in the first two. If you'll turn to race number 3. Race 3 starts the single six. There is a carryover of over $11,330 in the single six. And in that opening leg, race number 3, take out number 4, Little Chick. Number 4, Little Chick, is out of race 3. In the 4th race, simply scratch the also eligibles, number 13, Lionize, and number 14, Hidden Strength. Race 4, take out 13 and 14. Race number 5, we celebrate Sally Carter's 70th. And in the 5th race, it starts the late pick 4, just 14% takeout in that wager. There is one change. Scratch number 10, Matt's Honey. Number 10, Matt's Honey, is out of race 5. In the 6th race, there is a jockey change on the 2, Graham's Revenge. Make it Rogelio Miranda. Miranda, the new jockey for the 2. And scratch the also eligible. Scratch number 13 and 14. Numbers 13 and 14 scratched from race number 6. In the 7th race, there are 2 changes. Scratch number 8, Court and Spark. Number 8, Court and Spark, has been withdrawn. Jockey change for number 11, Thomas Shelby. Make the rider Luan Machado. Machado picks up the 11, Thomas Shelby, in race 7. And then in the 8th and final, with that small carryover in the high 5, I believe the carryover is just shy of $800. The only changes are just scratch the alsos. Scratch number 13, Last Spring, and scratch number 14, Libra Plus, 13 and 14, out of the 8th. Well, those are the changes at this time. Any additional changes coming in throughout the balance of the card, I'll get those to you as they do so. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Track announcer Jimmy McNerney coming to you from the third floor studio here at Turfway Park. Prior to the anthem and the changes, we got through the first half of the card. Now we'll take a closer look into the back half of this 8-race program. Race number 5 starts the 50-cent pick 4, just 14% takeout on all of our pick 4s here at Turfway. And in the 5th race, it is a filly and mare non-3 claimant event. 15 down to 10 is the claiming tag. I'm going to spread out 5 deep in the pick 4. I'll get that to you later prior to the 5th race. But my top 3 horses in here, we'll start with number 6. We'll talk about Novella. She's a well-bred 4-year-old daughter by Red Rocks out of an English Channel mare. English Channel horses get over this poly track very, very well. And Novella comes from a good barn. Calumet Farm of Brad Kelly and Jack Sisterson, a very good trainer. They send this one out and they drop in class. She exits a 8th place finish down at Fairgrounds in late November. She's beaten just 9 1/4 lengths and dropping from that one other than into this 15 non-3 level. I think she's a standout for me. If she's anywhere close to her best, I think she gets paid tonight. And there's no reason to think she isn't. If you look back on January 25th at Keeneland, she fired a bullet drill, half mile 50 and 3 that day. Prior to that, she was the second best at 16 in her workout on January 18th. And then 8 days prior to that, she bulleted. So she's been training very well since she got back from NOLA. Now, she has worked over the artificial down there at Keeneland, even though she hasn't raced on the poly. She's been training over it, and she's getting over it pretty good. So I think she'll transition well. Class drop puts her right in the winner's circle for me, 5-2 on Novella with Abel Lascano. For second, number 8, I like him, 7-2. Now, she was a runaway winner last start, and she went off by 8.5 lengths. Now, that was in a 15 non-2 level. Wasn't quite as tough as this, but there was a couple decent horses in that race, and I like him. She shows she's like Turfway surface. She's raced here 3 times, has that win, and of course has that second place finish here back last year in February. So 7-2 on the morning line. I'll use that one. And then for third, number 1, Kojo's Queen. Now she hasn't raced since November when racing at Churchill in the slop at the sprint distance. She stretches out to the route distance, and I think the breeding says route. Now she's raced going long a few times, but she's racing some races that have came off the turf at the route distance. Her only race going a route of ground where it stayed on the turf was 3 back at Ellis Park in a pretty tough 16 non-2 where she was 6, beat 8 lengths. But I think the stretch out in the poly will help this one. Drawn well to the inside, 8-1 for the McNamara's and Larry DeMerit, and his go-to rider Julie Burke has the call. So 8-1 value in behind those 2 short price horses up top in race number 5. Now, if you're playing the pick 4, I'm also going to throw in the 5 and 12. I think you can make a case for either of those in the 5th. Now, the 6th race is a maiden filly, 3-year-old, $7,500 claimer to go a mile. It starts the final rolling pick 3 on this program, and this is a pretty tough race, and I think you probably should spread out here a little bit if you can. Now, number 1, Mountain Melodies, I'm going to give her the nod. She's a 3-year-old daughter of Shackleford out of a Kitten's Joy mare named Kitten's Bird, owned and bred by Ken and Sarah Ramsey. Mike Maker sent this one out back on January 17th, right here at Turfway, where she was 2nd. She sat from off the pace and kind of made maybe just a little bit of an early move, and then she got ran down late. She ended up 2nd, beaten 3 1/4 lengths. She had a little bit of excuse, some traffic trouble, and I believe she even stumbled at the start that day, if I remember correctly. But prior to that, for the 15 level, she was 5th here, beaten 14 lengths. I think she's found her friends, although I think there's a few horses in here that do have a shot as well, and one of those being number 5, Honey Bourbon. She's another one making a class drop. Now, she hasn't showed much. In fact, she's only beaten 3 horses in her life, but she comes from a very good stable, takes a class drop. She's well bred, and I think the poly will help her as well. She's 15-1. Big price play for me there. Now, number 12, Yellowbird, is another one. That's 12-1 odds, and she's coming from the barn of Dennis Roberson. Alvin Jimenez likes to take the call here on the class drop, and she's drawn to the outside at this route distance, but I don't think there's enough speed right directly inside of her. The first 3 or 4 positions inside of her, I think she can use her speed and cross and clear and not get stuck out in the parking lot on the run to the first turn. So in this 6th race, my top 3 are 1, 5, 12. If you're playing pick 4s, you have to use the 2 Graham's Revenge. She's making a big drop in class. As it race, it's Keeneland, but I think anything close to her best, she's in the mix as well. So I'm going to spread out there with the 1, 2, 5, and 12, but 1, 5, 12 is my top 3. Now, with 17 minutes to post, we'll take a look at this 7th race that starts a late daily double. We have rolling daily doubles here throughout the card. This is the final one in race 7, and race 7 is a free space for me, I believe. I'm going to single. It's my most logical winner on the card. That's number 4, Royal Mesa, and Mike Battaglia has this one going off at 7-5, so he thinks you guys will love this horse as well. He's a son of Sky Mesa, who just got out and knotted, got ran down late here in the Prairie Bayou by Pikachu here in that stake event back on December 31st. Pikachu, of course, was ridden, I believe, by Johnny McKee, and that one came from the Brian Michael barn. We'll see that one here in a starter allowance next week here at the track next Thursday, I believe. But Royal Mesa returning back to this allowance company where it's a restricted non-3 allowance, fits. The time before, the horse you'll see there at Churchill Downs in the 2X was 2nd. That was a 2X optional claimer, much tougher than any horse, of these have been facing. Now, those races, like I said, are a lot tougher. This is just a straight non-3. There's no optional claiming tag, so you're not going to face horses who've won multiple races. You're not facing stake company like last start. I think Royal Mesa can sit the trip here just off the pace with Malcolm Franklin, Ford, Jerry Namey, and Phil Sims. In behind it, who do you use? I'm going to add a couple of price horses, one of those being number 7, Majestic Valley, who loves this surface here at Turfway. Now, he's raced here 3 times, has a win in 2/3, and last start, he came flying. Now, it shows he was 3rd, beaten 3 lengths, but what I liked about that one, he was in a little bit of traffic trouble, had to alter course near the top of the stretch and came rolling late, and it shows getting beat 3 lengths, but what impressed me on the gallop out, he just ran by him and galloped out really, really strong that day. And time before, he probably should have won that race. I think they waited to move a little too late there at the 6 furlong distance. So I think stretching out to the mile gives him more time to relax and set up for that late running style. I don't think he'll be as far back today on the stretch out though. But 8-1, I got to use for Johnny McKee, Helen Andrews, and Jeff Greenhill. Now for third, number 10, Never Even Called, Gennaro Garcia, hitting over at 20% here at the meet. This one was second, beating a length in a similar event last start here. Time before, he is fourth, beating 13 lengths in one of those 2 other than optional 40s. So been keeping good company. Is drawn to the outside though, but gets a break in weight and is 6-1 on the morning line. 4, 7, 10 for me, but it's all about the 4 in there for me, Royal Mesa. 8th and final has a wager called the High Five. It's a $1 base bet. You pick the top 5 finishers in order, and there's a small carryover in there of just about $800 if you want to play that wager. There's already free money in it, so get involved here in the 8th. Now, I think you can limit it down to a few horses in the 8th, and number 3, True to Dixie, will get my top pick. This one gets Albin Jimenez up today for Helen Pitts Blasi, this one for the Cardinal Farm. Last start was 6, beaten 5 lengths, but had a horrible trip. Was parked out 6 wide most of the entire race and just made his move way too late. Prior to that, it's a 6.5 furlong distance on December 21st. This one kind of made an early move that day. Ran up to second, was just about a length or half a length off the lead, then kind of faltered late. So I think the class drop and a more well-timed move could be the time where True to Dixie gets his second lifetime victory in his 18th start. For second, number 5 at Cabot Trail. This one comes from the barn of Steve Lister, and this one's making a big plunge. Dropping in for the $7,500 level. Broke his maiden at Keeneland back in October for the $15,000 level, rallying from off the pace and just holding on to win. They thought enough of that race to running back for $40,000 at Churchill of 49-2. They could have ran him back for the 15. He's a gelding, so they elected to go for the 40, and he ran okay. He ran even, was 5th, beating 11 lengths, but drops in for the $7,500 level and is one that figures for me. You'll have to use that one. Now, number 4, Los Ana, I'll use the son of Data Link for Olivio Anerio, apprentice Joe Ramos, who's riding very well at the meeting. So you get 5 pounds break in weight with a very good apprentice to go this 6.5 furlong distance. This one has a pair of third-place finishes here and his only 2 starts on the poly. Been racing to get similar here at the $7,500 level, but I think it's a must-use in behind the 3 and the 5. Race number 8, the High Five, don't forget that carryover there as well. Well, we'll be back on later on for the early pick 4, late pick 4, and we'll give you a little single 6 action in the third race. Currently, horses are in the paddock. We'll take a look at them. There's 12 minutes to post. Good luck tonight.